Do you feel really unhappy with the way your husband treats you? And do you wish he did things the way you wanted him to? Are you the cause of your own Are you the cause of your own forgetfulness and your space cadetness? Okay. We're doing a toolbox today, by the way. This is look what the staff got me. I love this. See, the toolbox. We're doing a toolbox, so we're going to learn tools. That's the day today. I want to start with a story, and I have a student. Her name is Bracha, and of course, I always use the real name. No, Bracha is married to a guy named Chaim. Okay, thank you. Oh, she's on her game there. So Chaim works. He has an Amazon whatever thing. He's like one of the guys from who supplies. He has his own business on Amazon. And so Bracha is very unhappy because one month it's great, one month it's a loser, whatever, and she feels like she totally cannot depend on anything. He always talks a big game, and she's very disappointed in him, in the marriage. She just feels like she's on a treadmill. She can't get off. She called me. Mainly her chief complaint was her own unhappiness. She said, I'm just not happy. I just feel like I've stopped listening to my husband's promises because they never come true. And I just feel like not only is he not necessarily, providing, which can be a big challenge in and of itself, but he also emotionally just is not available. He's just, he's wrapped up in his thing, and he's all stressed out all the time, and he has low self-esteem. So like at the beginning, of our marriage, I'm like building him. And it's like, what am I building ready for? So they have a couple of kids, and aside from their financial troubles, she said that they have a kid who's developmentally, I think she called it challenges. Am I politically correct? Developmentally challenged. She said, but he's not bad enough to pass any markers to get help. He's just not doing well. And she said she feels very lonely and very much like she's just fighting a battle by herself. And it's a pretty sad situation. So here's the question we have. This is the question of the hour. Everybody should ask themselves this yourself. Is happiness determined on outside forces, outside circumstances, outside people? Wink, wink, husband, okay? Is that responsible for our happiness? Or are we responsible for our happiness? And before you answer this, even for yourself, you have to ask yourself, am I, it's like, yes, we have certain power or whatever. You have certain control over your life, but are you blaming other people and it's really your fault? Or is it not your fault either? I mean, she's doing the best she can. She says she works hard. She, it's like she has a part-time job. She's taking care of the kids. She's getting food on the table. She's carrying the emotional weight of the family. Okay, and he is having this up and down business. So she feels like she's carrying everything. She doesn't feel, she feels, I said, are we like, not that we like to blame victims. We get this straight. Read my lips. We do not blame victims here. We don't blame them. Instead, what we do is figure out what we can do to shift the situation. Is there any actions I could take to shift the situation? So rather than answering, we're going to get to it, but rather than answering and saying, okay, well, it's outside circumstances. Why is she, that's responsible for her happiness? Or saying, oh, it's her own, it's her attitude. She'd better adjust her attitude if she wants to be, happy. Neither of those answers really satisfy it, right? Does that satisfy anybody? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Aliza is sending hugs to Bracha.
Thank you. Oh, that is so sweet. Thank you very much. Yes, she could use the hugs. That's for sure. Okay.
And if you want to send her some cash also, that would
right. Well, maybe she should put a link of whatever Amazon thing her husband's selling. I don't know. Great. Okay. So here's the thing. I want everyone to think about, we're doing a quiz now, think about one thing that's really bugging you in your life. Just close your eyes, maybe, whatever. Think of what's really bugging you. Like there's one thing that's just gnawing at you, whether it's a big thing, the insurance thing isn't paying the thing that they were supposed to pay, and they said they were, and it's in the contract, and now they're not, and they're making you fight, and that's bugging you. Whether it's something your husband's doing, whether it's something that you want something and you can't get it, and you keep davening for it, and it keeps not happening, coming to you. Whatever it is that's bugging you in your life, think about that. Everybody got one? Okay, now everybody write yours in. Send it to me.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
hear.
Joe,
No, we're not gonna out you.
what is
Bugging you? So here's the thing. When you have something that's bugging you like this, give me an example, ladies. I should have asked you to think of one before. What could be bugging you? Something medium big.
Mine is my college application. Like the transcripts haven't gone into the college applications, and now I have to chase them down. But
and you have to chase them
so
down. Yeah, that's good. Okay, fine. That's good. Some application that you're applying and it didn't get to the place it was supposed to get, and they said it was sent and it wasn't sent, and you're chasing after it, and you've got this stupid. It's like one of those frustrating things that, like, just be over already. Like, come on, why am I still dealing this? Why am I still calling people? Why am I still, or you're not calling people. You're calling like something that says dial 7 if you blah 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 blah. Does anyone talk to any people ever again in the whole life? It's all automated, whatever. Oh my gosh. So and then you get someone on the line and they say, yes, a hold, and you're like,
Right.
I finally got you. So anyway, so you've been chasing this thing, right?
Yeah.
You've been okay. So here's the thing. Now, a lot of what happens, and particularly when these are emotional issues, this is a logistic issue, which is also frustrating and annoying and runs half of our life, okay, is logistic issues. When they're emotional issues, it's much harder to do what we're about to do, which is to walk through it. And walking through it would be to say, okay, what are, you probably have done maybe some of the things. What can you do about it? Here's a piece of paper. Fill it in, get a pen, and write, or take your app, type in, what are 10 things you can do to solve that problem? Okay, so whatever you've picked in your head, whatever thing that's bugging you or annoying you, what are 10 things you can do to solve that problem? Now, maybe you've done 7 of them already, whatever. Maybe there's 3 extras that, maybe I'll try those. So what does that do for us? When you sit down and make a list of what you actually can do, it takes you from being in the victim mode, like, woe is me, the circumstances are awful, to the victor mode, okay? From victim to victor. I don't think that's on your notes.
Yeah.
On lower thirds.
On lower thirds, right now, from victim to victor. That transition, this is how you do it. These are the nuts and, see, remember, toolbox. Where's my hammer? See?
Yeah, the nuts and
I think
bolts.
you can't get the hammer out of the hammer.
Yeah.
The nuts and bolts, right? This is the tools of how to go from victim to victor, is to get a pen and paper, or however you write it down, or type it out. What are 10 things you can do to solve your problem? It's remarkable. Now, that's with a logistics issue. So did you ask friends how they got their transcripts faster? Did you call the bursar, or is that the right word? See, I'm very literate. The bursar, to find out why it hasn't been sent.
I keep calling. I mean, the colleges say they've sent it, but the other college hasn't received it. So
And they haven't
I just
received
have
it.
to keep calling.
So it's keep calling. Okay, what other, ladies, give her other ideas.
Well,
what could she do?
I've also emailed.
Right.
Can you Xerox it?
No, can't you have them send it to you and then you priority?
No, it has to go straight from.
Otherwise, she
So-
could change
so
all her
can't-
B's to A's.
right.
Not that she has any B's,
So
okay?
they can't certify it, meaning
Certified mail or...
that it's signed. Like you tell them, I'll pay for it to be certified mail.
Oh, yeah, you could say, I have
I'll
a...
look into that.
You
That's
Yeah, because they're not getting it, so somewhere there's a
It's lost.
breakdown.
Give them say, I have a prepaid Federal Express
Yeah.
account number. Here it is.
Yeah.
Please let me, and then you can track it yourself.
Yeah, and I can track to see that whoever signed it and where it went to and which department and
So you
etc.
see, more brains are better than one brain.
Yeah.
So when you've got your list of 10,
So
right?
feel free to send in your problems.
Yeah,
We will come up with 10 things for you
solutions. 10
right here,
things
right
you can
now.
do. So here's why it takes you from victim to victor. I should write it in big letters because I know I'm going to say it wrong. The whole show, that's like the typical thing to happen. So anyway, to get to be the victor, what it does is it empowers you. It's exciting. Did you see everyone's face lit up when we were trying to figure out solutions and brainstorming, and everyone was fighting to think of what's the most clever one we could think of. So writing it down, that's how you go to be the victor. And instead of feeling like the world is oppressing you, you feel like you have power. That's what we're trying to do. Not blame the victim, but give the victim power. So in this situation, this was a logistics issue. So going through the 10 things, yeah, it's good. Give me an emotional one, ladies. A tough one with the hubby. Oh, wait, no, hold on a sec. No, we don't want to out anybody. No, then we don't talk about, the only one who can talk about their husband is Sarit. Okay, video games. Okay.
I can't stand video games.
Okay, fine.
I'll walk in and he's on his little thing on his phone.
She has permission from the Rebbeim and her husband to talk about her husband.
He
knows.
That's it. He goes, that's my release. That's, let's, and I'm like, it's such a waste of time.
Right.
Like, so.
Okay, so fine. So what are
workaholic?
Well, no, we're going to deal with this one.
Okay, don't take away
She wants 10 things. Come on.
Look at her workaholic now.
We're 10 things.
Video games.
And we need input from you guys. So give us everybody on the teleconference.
And by the way, for me, it's video games. For another person, it's Candy Crush. For another person, it's their husband doing things that just seems like they're wasted. No, like things that just seem like they're not producing anything and they're just
wasting
distracting.
Time. Okay, so let's have 10 solutions. What are 10 solutions to this video game conundrum?
So maybe Sarit could look at the video game and try to understand it. So maybe that'll cause her to understand her husband better. Maybe she can just use it.
So I did try that, and I was like, this is mindless, brain dead. Like, why would somebody do something
that made
this?
it worse?
And it made it worse. So I'm like, why would somebody sit there and
can you hear those guys when they're talking? Okay,
I'm
good.
with you.
So hold on. What else? Let's get something really. Keep pouring on the 10. We don't want to hear the so much of that.
Bribe him to make him his favorite dinner or something instead of him.
Yeah, and what? And it'll be like, great, dinner was amazing.
And now I'm
gonna go conquer some worlds.
Yeah. Right.
No, he actually told me he's had a lot of times where he said to me, number one, he's not anymore, thank God. He's grown out of it and also done a lot of work on it. But as a child, he was ADHD, and video games was really able to get him to focus.
So we want answers.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is, hers was a logistics about her college transcripts. Yeah. Yours is a little logistics, but it's very emotional.
Emotional, it's also because I do want to understand that he does need a release. So it's so what's the big deal if he's out conquering lands? And I actually just read an entire thing that they did. I read it in, shout out to Charlie Harari and the people we love.
Yes, we love.
But I read it that that video games actually causes people, and that's why children are so into it. It literally has them use all the skills of sort of life. They're trying to.
So you're saying there's an advantage to it,
and they're trying, and it also allows them to live in this. Every child wants to be the leader that is on top of all these armies and conquering and putting.
So you're saying it's good?
No, I'm saying I wanted to see that it's good because I hear all that thing behind it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's a couple of things. Yeah, no, I hear. But there has to be. I mean, I'm going to ask you this harsh question. Is that okay?
Yes.
This really doesn't have to do with our topic. No. The harsh question is, what part of it is your business?
But you're right. It just, to me, it's just that, you're right. I don't know. It just, I feel
I'm sorry. That was harsh, but I know you can take it. You love me. Here's the boxing glove.
I can take it, and I think that's what these 10 things should be, being a little bit introspective and thinking, what could you do?
Now, here's the thing, because everyone has to understand this. There's addictions. Okay, there's real addictions that cause real problems. Addictions, there are people who are addicted to video games and don't go out and work.
Yeah,
there are people who are addicted to
don't eat.
Right. There are people who are addicted to drugs and things on the internet that we don't like to talk about.
Elise actually said video games is a much better outlet than a lot of other things. If you can think about it that way. And it's true.
Good. She's right. But hold on a sec. So if this is a true addiction and it's causing loss of, it's really, and I would say, sometimes it's hard to judge, and I'm not an expert on where something goes from being just I'm I'm addicted to that, I'm obsessed with that game, to where it's it's actually causing problems.
Well, if it's interfering with life, but it isn't. It's not like he's not doing what he's supposed to, or he's not helping out, or he's so involved with everything, but when I walk in and he's has his finger on his, he'll talk to me and everything, but he has his finger on his thing because he has to keep the army you know, and if he takes his finger off, he's like dead. So he's just like holding his thing as he's talking. He's totally involved with me because all he needs is a finger.
That's hysterical. You know what they should have? We should sell, new marketing gizmo is a thing that holds your spot so you can go to the bathroom and come back, you know, right? We make millions.
So he goes, what's the big deal? You're right.
Someone could take that idea, just cut me in for 5%. That's it, all I want. So, but anyway, the issue is that...
no, but you're right. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't affect me in terms of that. It shouldn't be.
So here's the thing. The bottom line is it's totally, thoroughly not your business.
Correct. Right.
Okay?
Sure.
So now it's working on what's your emotions meanwhile. Like you walk into the room, you're...
Right.
Any chance you could get rid of the...
Right.
Is that in the realm of
I feel like anytime you have, like, there's so much
God
to do
that
you should be doing things that I'm having, like...
But maybe he needs that time to
for
unwind,
sure.
so
I
he has the
know.
energy to go do all the other things.
100%, and I know that. So
There's
I just
such a
have
thing
to,
as
like,
Bain manum, which is
Right,
time
exactly.
off, you know,
Right.
time
so I need
off
to,
between
like change that reel that, you know, like, I'm like, I wish I just...
You mean you have it be...
yeah.
So, okay, so the going from victim to victor. So let's see, you're standing there, right? And you really are the victim to his not being, you know, him being addicted to it, him not connecting with you
Right.
at that moment. And or if he's connecting, he's, you know, like
Right.
plugged in over here holding his
Right.
armies at bay.
Right.
Or whatever. Are they
Right.
green armies, red armies? I don't know what- Okay,
they
so,
are,
so
I mean, he's
all
got
the-
the world. He's
okay,
like one
fine,
of the top
fine.
players.
Oh, wow. Well, at least that's something. You could have some. So what would it be for you to just ask him what level he's up to?
Right.
When you walk in, right, swing to, your pendulum is over here. You're just like, was he on the thing?
the other way.
Swing the other way and say, what level?
Right.
You got up to there.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many armies did you got?
That's right. How many? That's right. You know, like there. Yeah. So I have the story. You know, this woman was recently. She came to me, and she was actually a single person. I work with married people now. I did for a couple of long times. Worked with single people, and anyway, this woman kind of crossed my path, and she said, you know, and you know, I need this, and I need that, and I da 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 da. And I said, you know, Rav Dessler says, this is one of our great sages, says that when demands begin, love departs. It was so, like, that's a mind-boggling concept. We should have a whole class on that because it's just so powerful. When demands begin, love departs. So if you're making demands, if your husband demands, it's like there's no love there. If he's making demands on you, well, where's this? And when did you do that? And when love departs. What's the antidote to that? To give totally, constantly, and unconditionally. I'm going to say it again. To give totally. Are you going to get this down?
Yes.
Oh, you're so sweet. To give totally, unconditionally, constantly. Constantly,
and
unconditionally.
You got hearts for that.
So there's this woman.
Do what constantly unconditionally?
Give love.
Oh,
just
give love.
give. So she said, well, what, you know, if I keep giving and he doesn't give back, I don't care. Your happiness is dependent upon your giving, not on whether he does or doesn't reciprocate to the extent that you'd like him to. Just keep giving. I said, your problem, because she's not a young lady and she really wants to be married, is that you are looking what they can give to you. Start looking for what you can give to them, and start giving to them. When they walk, start giving. And she said, "Wow, I'm just dating." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, when you're dating them, give to them. How do you give to somebody when you're dating? You say, "Oh, that was so nice of you to come on time. I really appreciate it." Oh, you know, it's appreciation and thanking and whatever. But you know, "Oh, I really like what you did with your car. You keep it so neat. Just keep giving, giving." Even the most stubborn, selfish, introverted, but no, I'm just saying like somebody who's just totally into themselves. What do you call that kind of person? Narcissist? Self-absorbed, narcissist. Even the most staunch, 100%, 99% is their thoughts about themselves and how they look and how they feel and what they're going, what they need and what they want, will just completely melt when you just keep giving and giving and giving. Okay, let's get to the how to solve.
I like that. No, I like that solution. I'm going to
so
try to,
your thing is
to switch it to
just do a whole but it has to start. And again, if I would say, it's not that what your husband does is none of your business. If you were addicted to the thing, right, and he said, what am I going to do? Sarit's addicted to this, Candy Crush or whatever. What do I do? I'm like, why is it your business again? Like, okay, because she's not waking up on time because she stays up till 3 a.m. doing it. Oh, she's not living her life fully. Oh, she's not picking the kids up from carpool, and she's not making dinner, and she's not doing her work, or she's not showing up to work.
Right.
Whatever.
Then Leah would get involved on that one.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's his business. If his life is going normal and it's just a pet peeve, well, you know what? He's not picking his teeth. Well, maybe he does that also. I don't know, not my business or whatever. But I'm just saying, like who was it who said, Lisa, who said that's of the things he could be doing. Yeah. He could be outside the house. Yeah. He could be running around. I was interesting when a mom told me that her kid's addicted to games, and she's glad because he's under her roof. Right, he's not doing drugs. Right. He's not out with friends wondering where he is. She always knows where he is. Unfortunately, it's there, whatever. She'd prefer him come down and practice piano, she said. But, that he's at least at home. So that's one way to look at it. Okay. Again, think of 10 things you can also do to support him in what he's doing. Okay. So back to your thing, the logistics. We're, again, going from victim to victor is coming up with 10 things. 10 actions you can take. Now, let's go on.
Well, let's go on to Bracha. I was going to say, what do you tell someone whose husband is ups and down in financial? That's a hard one. What 10 things does she do that...
Okay, so I'm actually have the answer for you.
Oh, 10 things for her.
So let's see.
What does she do?
Okay, so I have her list. I'll get to that. Stay tuned. We will get there. Okay, but I'm going to first go and give some tips for how to go from victim to victor. Recognizing the terrible pitfall of misunderstanding reality. So even if it looks like our husband, Bracha's husband, the money's up and down, and he keeps making promises, and nothing ever works, whatever. Even though it looks in reality like he is the one to blame for all that's going wrong in her life, we know from our sources that God himself is the one who made his Amazon go up and down. He is just as much at the effect of it as she is. Parnasa, money is determined by God. We have many sources that teach this. Here's the thing. Knowing that deep in your heart, and if you don't know it, to just sort of feel that and feel the emunah and the betoch and the faith and the, belief and the trust that that's how God runs the world, takes all of Bracha's anger away from her husband, which is completely misplaced. Even if he's lazy and he's playing, let's say he's paying Candy Crush or this army thing or whatever, and he's not making money 1 month because he's doing that. That's very scary. Does that mean that now this is where free choice and free will and whatever gets way above my pay scale. So you need to go to ask this to a big rabbi. But my belief is he has to do certain efforts, and God provides, and they're not proportional sometimes. So, but here's the secret that women need to know. Ready? This is very, very powerful secret. If Bracha, and I told you this, I said, if you are able in your heart to not be angry at your husband for the lack of finances and feeling like he's always making promises, and realize it's not in his hands, and you are to show him you are able to show him unconditional love, no matter what the salary is month to month, but you are just to create peace in your home because of that, guaranteed God will shine his light down on you, and that is your best chance of your money and your finances going well. It's not a guarantee that they will go well, although I think it might be a guarantee. I have to relook at the source. I think it's if there's shalom in the house, if there's peace in the house, then I'm just going through my mind, the Rolodex of the sources. I think I do have one source that says that your money will go up. But anyway, let's just leave it at this, because this one I can guarantee, which is that's your best shot at it. Your best shot of having more money, Bracha, is by creating peace in your home and loving your husband unconditionally, no matter what the numbers say. Okay? So that's number one. Now, number two, and that has to do with blessing. Like, in other words, where there's peace, there's blessing. So you can just picture if you're having, and how come you didn't make more money this month, and why didn't this, and Shekhinah, the light of God, just leaves the house. It doesn't want to be around. There's not peace. There's not coziness. But if you're like, oh, that was a tough month. Yeah, but don't worry. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it. If the wife is like that, I'm like, oh, you want something for dinner? Or no meat because you didn't bring the money. No, don't say that. Don't say that. Whatever. But you want, let's eat dinner. Whatever. Something good will come up. I have a gut feeling we're gonna do fine. Don't worry about it at all, dear. And he's like, oh. Then guess what? That shalom that you've just created creates God's bracha, his blessing. This is a guarantee, ladies. God's blessing to come into your home and take care of stuff. Okay? And whether it's with finances, whether it's with helping your kid with his math at homework, whatever it is that you need blessing for, and we all need blessing, right? Yeah. Your knee hurts, your toe hurts, this, whatever, you banged your thing, bracha. You burned your we all need bracha. We all need blessing in our life. Okay. Okay, number 2 is to actually get a notebook and start writing down potential solutions like we did with you, right? So, you thought of everything or everything you could think of. If you actually had made a whole project of getting a pen and paper and saying, okay, what are the 10 things I can do, you probably would have thought of more yourself. If you talk to friends, coworkers, parents, siblings, kids, whatever, and you brainstorm, you can probably come up with 20. And beginning to do that, again, brings you from victimhood to victor. Okay. Oh, and the other thing about doing a notebook, the other thing that's really powerful about it is that it gives you hope for the future. Like instead of feeling like, you feel hope for the future. Okay, number 3, analyze the emotions that are causing you to be angry with your husband. This is kind of hard, but you have to look. Are you mad at the world for not handing you exactly what you want in the proportions that you want it, and you're taking it out on your husband? Do you resent him for not giving you the life you deserve, as if your husband was responsible rather than God? Thank you very much. Okay, a lot of people are mad at their husbands and this and that. He didn't give me this and give me. And it's like, no. He's just God is the one who gives. He can hand it to you, and he's the only one who can hand it to you, your husband. But God gives it to him. And if your husband isn't giving it to you, it's just as much God's fault as it is, not fault, but culpability. He's the one who's withholding it. If you want to be mad, instead of being mad at your husband, pray to God. You can be mad at God. I think might be a heter for it. I looked this up one time, a bunch of years ago. You can be mad, like you'd be mad at somebody who you love dearly and trust dearly and are warm and fuzzy and yum. You can be. It's more kind of being more upset
with him.
Yeah, that's it.
You're not like apathetic and saying whatever, it's going to make no difference. That anger is going to turn to
olive eye. That's beautiful.
And Mrs. Shaftik said, that's the hardest one for me. So just explain which one.
What's the hardest one for her?
Right, exactly. So I'm not sure which one she's referring to. Is that the maybe the third one that you just said, which was what? Why?
Analyze the emotions. Analyze the emotions. Yeah, do you have that? So I'll go on with it while she's writing that in. Yeah. So do you have bad patterns or an inability to control your own anger, so you just lash out all the time? Is that you? Yes, you feel victimhood to his thing. I once had a woman, and she said to me, my husband, he's always, he won't connect with me. So what do you mean? She said, he just doesn't know how to communicate, and and whatever, and he's always running out of a conversation, and, he just doesn't take it seriously. I said, well, describe the situation. She said, oh, well, we'll be in the middle of a discussion. It would get heated, and the minute it gets heated, he'll say, I just need some time to myself. Every time he needs time to himself. I said, so what's your reaction? I tell him, no, we're going to solve this right now. We're going to solve it. And then he explodes, and then we have a big fight. Okay. Why do you think he gets so upset? I don't know. His inability to connect emotionally. I said, could it possibly have something to do with the fact that you blast out when you get upset? Well, he's got to take it. Well, maybe that's why he needs some time out. Maybe he's walking away not because he needs to cool down, because he wants you to cool down. There's always a solution. I'm not blaming the victim. I'm trying to give that woman tools so she can connect with her husband, because obviously what she's doing is detrimental to her closeness to her husband. So there are actions. There are always actions we can take to improve our situation. And even if we can't improve that situation, our attitude we can shift our own attitude and our own mind and see things in a way that doesn't cause us to suffer as much. We always have that choice.
So she said number 3, that one.
Oh, analyzing the emotions. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, no, it's not such an easy one. So, this is actually a little internal work that you can do with yourself. If you want to, people who journal, you can write this down. If you have a close friend you can talk to about it and say, I fly off the handle at my husband all the time, and I realize, boy, just like my mom did. And I when I grew up, I said, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not. And I'm exactly the way I didn't want to be. What can I do about it? Do you have any tips for me? And she'll say, go read a book on that.
Go read Marriage Secrets.
Go read Marriage Secrets. We got some good, there's actually a huge, awesome section in there about anger and how to manage it and control ourselves. And it's very empowering. Again, we're not into blame. We're into empowering. Is empowering a word that everybody knows what that means?
Yes,
okay, good.
Of course,
okay, fine.
Yes.
So, can you pinpoint an emotional drama that copycats your past dysfunctional patterns when you're a kid? Because sometimes you realize that you're having the same emotion again and again and again. Doesn't even matter what the circumstances are, what our husband does, we clobber him. Just clobber. Remember, we take this and here's our thing. In case you haven't seen this, instead of punching like that, we coax them in. Thank you. Okay, number 4. Learn how to be, see, without my glasses I said it was listen, see. Learn how to be more forgiving of your husband's humanity. The more slack that you cut your husband, the more you stop blaming him for everything that's wrong in your life. And look, I'm a woman. I know what it is to blame your husband on everything that's going wrong in your life, okay? The more you refrain from doing that, the more unconditionally loved he feels, and the more he tries to rise to your good opinion of him. It's so powerful. Ladies, this is not this is a try this at home thing. This is not like, you have to let me take her word for it. No, try it. Go home, or you're at home, whatever. Try this on your husband. It's remarkable. It's really remarkable. Unconditional support and love is the secret ingredient for a husband to be successful. So when your husband, he brings home a lot of money, you praise him. He brings home a little money, you praise him. You say, wow. And they say, well, it's not as much as last month. And say, every business has to have ups and downs. Who cares? It's enough to live on. And if it isn't enough to live on, then you say, we'll survive. We'll survive. We always have. We always will. God, it's in God's hands. How about that for an idea? Your husband's sitting there blaming himself and feeling horrible about himself, feeling low self-esteem. And you're like, for whatever reason, this is how much money God wanted us to have this month. That's what he wanted. And your husband's like, oh, like really? Guess what? Then your husband, maybe he'll turn to God and say, God, I need more. My poor sweet wife. Look what look what she's putting up with. We're late on the rent. Look what she's putting up with. Please bring more money. That has more power than you making him feel bad for not bringing more money. That's not going to be very motivating. Would it be motivating to you? Someone's like saying, well, this dinner really stinks, but try better next time. You'd be like, you're not motivated. It's good, but, maybe this time don't put so much salt. Right? Whatever, Okay. If you shower your husband with support, no matter what the results look like, no matter what your life looks like, no matter how measly his paycheck, besides the fact that you'll be accepting God's will in this world, it's also an incredibly powerful tool for turning the situation around. You'll have more blessing. Okay, the last one is gratitude for what you do have has a way of making it expand. Okay, and that's a spiritual truth. We know that from our sources. Okay, so now let's go and take a look at bracha. So now I'm answering, whose question was that? Was that Lisa's? Bracha.
Yeah.
What about, going to, someone asked before, what can she do? So let's go through bracha's story to figure out what she can do to turn things around. So first of all, how would, and this is a question for you ladies, I'm going to ask you and I want a response, how would recognizing that God is the one who's responsible for how much money he makes on Amazon change her life? And you guys in Instagram, let's see. If she just said it, God's in the picture. Like God's running this, not me.
Yeah, I think that definitely it'll take away a lot of her
anxiety.
It's out of her husband's hands.
And instead of it being a clash between the two of them, it's like it's over there. They're on the same team together, trying to make it work, rather than her being on the reason she look, when people tell me they're lonely, it's the saddest thing in the world. It's so not the saddest thing. There could be sadder things, but when someone's lonely, it's such a heartbreak because right there and under their roof is their own husband, and they feel lonely. They need to. There is a way to connect. They need to figure it out. Read Marriage Secrets. Look at some of the other shows we have on our website. But figure out a way to connect. You shouldn't be lonely. Don't be lonely. We don't want. Right? We don't want. We don't want you to be lonely.
Golden Path actually said it's liberating to think that. To put God in the picture.
It is liberating. It's a good way to say it. Just put him in the picture and blame it on him. Then there's no hassle. There's no conflict between the marriage.
Right. Like her husband's trying to do the best with what he has, and God.
And they feel bad enough.
They feel badly enough. That's right. Okay, so now let's go to number 2, which was to make a list. And if Bracha made a list, so here's some things that I thought of that Bracha could do. She might give business advice, suggest a book he buys on Amazon or something on how to. He's an Amazon business, so how to sell better on Amazon. There you go, YouTube videos. She could look them all up for him and send him all the links and say, hey, watch these. Maybe these will help you. I don't mean to tell you how to run your business. And you have to know your husband. If your husband's the type who feels like, she doesn't trust me, she's trying to second guess me, then don't do this. But for most guys, it's like if you send them a link to a video that whatever, on a topic that you think that would be interesting, that most people would watch. So I don't think it's insulting. And you can ask him, I hope you're not insulted by this, but I just happened to come across this after looking and researching for 10 hours. No, but whatever. So send him ideas. She could suggest he hire a consultant for 1 hour. Sometimes consultants are a fortune, $180. But if he has an Amazon business and he wants to do better, so get him a coach. Maybe his birthday. Say, okay, find somebody $50 an hour, whatever. It depends on the different communities and what people are. But I'm sure you can find somebody. You could go to the Small Business Administration thing and get somebody for free, a mentor who walks them through and how to do it better. Find people who are very successful at it, who and say, listen, we're kind of struggling, and I've got a kid who's developmentally challenged, and we're really having a tough time making it. Could you do a kindness and tutor my husband? And even ladies, don't even tell your husband, oh, I'm the one who got him for you. See how great I am? No one wants to be like, wag their finger. Have him send him an email and say, oh, I got your name from somebody, wink, wink, I got your name from somebody. I understand you have this business. I'm on my 5th year and I'm one of the Amazon top sellers. I'd love to help you out. Like that. You can do all kinds of, again, when you're making a list, you can be creative about all kinds of brainstorming ideas of different things you can do. If she's a good writer, she could write a press release about his business and get all kinds of free publicity. But perhaps, maybe not. Again, these are things she could do. These are ideas. These are ideas to help him with his business. There are also other ideas to cut down expenses. So, I just know somebody who had a car and insurance and were paying X amount of dollars per year, and they didn't use their car all that much. They didn't commute with their car. They went all Uber. They sold the car. They stopped paying insurance, and they saved. She said, I figured, you'd say half the expenses, but it wasn't. It was she saved about 1/3 of what she would have done. So, but it was several $1,000s, which is, so that's the ways to cut down expenses. She could say, you know what, I'm going to buy used clothes for a year until we get back on our feet, unless she thinks it's going to make him feel bad or something like that. And some people don't want to buy used clothes. I'm just making suggestions on things she could do to make her husband not be so stressed out and pressured. And here's the thing. If a man brings in more money, this is very rare, but if a man brings in more money than his wife is able to spend, right, then he feels like $1 million. He feels like, that he can, and he can, do extra little things for her, and she feels great. If the woman's very demanding, it makes it harder on the guy. So in your own self, try and be the kind of person that could be happier with less. Not so easy and not so politically correct in today's day and age of, with this consumer society. But it's a place to get to. It's a place to sort of think that, I think we probably could all agree that we like to be that way, even if we struggle and then we see something we want and we want it, we really want it, and we keep thinking about we want it. But it is a place to grow. And maybe that's why God is giving financial challenges, so that you'll be happier with less. I know people who are extremely well-to-do and very unhappy, and I know people who are very, what I would consider poverty level, and they're, just happy-go-lucky, okay, we didn't get beef this month, or we didn't get, whatever, then there are people who are homeless, and there's a lot of other problems, but I'm talking about, the average person. Okay, next one is recognizing her own emotional drama. So when I went over this with her, we discussed that she had always felt like in her childhood no one was ever really there for her. So I asked her, how does that play out in your relationship with your husband? Meaning, that everything happens to us in our life for a reason, and everything happens to us, difficult things can leave scars. And some people, I have a story of you take two people, both of their parents were divorced, two women, okay, when they were 13. And you ask this woman, and you ask her, oh, your parents were divorced. What did you learn from that? And she said, well, I learned that you could never trust anybody. I learned that, the rug can be pulled out from your feet any time, any day of night. The third thing I learned was that, I'm trying to think this off the top of my head. The third thing I learned was that, no one is ever. Wait, did I start with that? No one. You can't trust with anyone. Let me think of it.
The rug could be pulled out, and men are terrible.
Yeah, men are terrible. Fine. Okay, that's good. Thank you. You get the gist of what I'm saying. Okay, so
I was trying to stay away from that, but
whatever. Okay, so that's what she learned. This 13-year-old. This other 13-year-old. So you go up to her and you ask her, what did your parents got divorced when you were 13? What did you learn from it? She says, oh, I learned that I'm a survivor. The second thing I learned is you need to have good communication in a relationship or it's going to fall apart. And the third thing that I learned is that you really have to choose carefully who you're going to trust. So now you have these two people. Mm-hmm. Both of them had the exact same things leading up to that one could be scarred, but both of them could be scarred for life. Which one do you want to be friends with? Which one do you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with that's going to, that's going to be, like a rock? This lady here, she took lemons and she made lemonade. So we want to be that person. We want to be that person who, whatever happened to us as a child, Bracha's mom, she wasn't very supportive and she was always harping on her dad. Does Bracha have to spend her entire life being that? She'd have to spend her entire life feeling not close to her husband and lonely in her marriage? No, it's within her power. Now, some of the issues are so deep, you need a therapist to help you out of them. You need to read books on it. You need to talk to friends. You need to work through, deeply on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, on a logistics, understanding what the mistakes of your mind are. That's all fantastic work because it's going to make you closer to yourself and closer to your husband and closer to your kids and everybody around you. So it's very worthwhile to go through some introspection and see what is causing you to be not close to your husband that you're the source of. Okay. Okay, Bracha's Baster. Oh, here's number 4. I don't remember what. I have to learn how to be more forgiving. Yeah, so basically, Bracha has kind of boxed her husband into a corner because he, every month, and I asked her this, I said, does every month he comes to you and has to prove his existence to you? And she said, yeah. And it's kind of like, if she thinks he's a loser, he acts like a loser. And I hate the word loser, but I'm just saying that that's really what the dynamic was going on here. He was every month, he just feels like he's a failure to her. So if she could work up to appreciate every tiny accomplishment, no matter how small, the whole thing can shift. The whole thing. She topples it over because he's not backed in the corner anymore. Now he's loved unconditionally. Okay, and the last thing is gratitude. I gave her the assignment to write every day what she's grateful for for her husband. And I don't care whether it's that he showed up on time or that he woke up in the morning or that to write that down. So I'm going to give you the action steps. Are there any other questions before I give the action steps? Any comments, questions, anything on this? Okay. So the action steps are: 1, recognize that God is running the world and stop taking anger out on your husband. It's God. This is the secret. Are we causing our own happiness? Yeah. When we blame our husband and outside circumstances, that causes us to be miserable, and there's nothing we can do about it. Whereas if we are empowered and we recognize that we have the choice to be the victor and not the victim, think of things we can do about it. But recognizing that God is running the world is the first step. Okay. Secondly, the action step is to go from victim of life circumstances to victor is to stop thinking where to place the blame and start thinking about what the solutions are. So get a notebook, write down 10 creative ideas that would solve the problem. And number 3, work to feel gratitude even when you're not feeling it. Okay, I'm going to give the wrap up. Any questions? We're good? We're good? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, so good. Yay. Okay, so the wrap up, Leah's secret of the day: when you stop blaming your husband for your life circumstances and recognize that everything is from Hashem, your self-inflicted unhappiness disappears. Okay, and the homework for this week is think of one frustrating circumstances in your life and write down 10 possible things you could do. Just what we did here. But you do it yourself. Get a notebook, get on an app, something on a piece of paper, and write down 10 things you can do pick something really frustrating, emotional or logistic, it doesn't matter. Pick something very frustrating and figure out what are 10 things you could do. It's empowering, it'll give you hope, and you'll be in action instead of blaming. That's it for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time. This is Leah Richheimer. We'll see you next time.